most businesses don't make it. Like most businesses fail, and then once you see someone succeed at one, you gotta go and ask him, hey, how many times did you fail? It's always gonna be like, I tried. This is my 11th time or something. You know what I mean? Like I met a guy in New York once, which later he didn't tell me. He was like kind of like, yeah, I do this, and he was pretty modest. And later on, when I uploaded my video, me talking to him, people are like, "You do know who that guy is, right?" And I go, "No, I don't know." So it turns out that dude had been trying to make a video game. I think 32 times he'd failed, and then on the 33rd time or something, he hit it, and he hit it out of the park. Man, he was the guy that made Words with Friends. Remember that game back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay, that game apparently was like massive, and it was because I remember all my staff used to play. I used to play with all my employees. Turns out that dude sold his company for over $100 million. He got to keep like 20% of it, so like $22 million. Just that was just his. And so this is this dude, right, that is walking around. But I didn't know that, right? But that guy was like, I make video games. And it's like, well, he's pretty successful at it because his last venture was pretty successful. But if you take the average, he's a loser. Right? Yeah. You lost 32 times, and then you failed 32 times, and then you succeeded once. That's I think most of entrepreneurs go through. It's like it's quite a bit of tries to get it right.
Yeah. And it's the same if you listen to like angel investors or whatever you want to call them, but people that invest in small businesses, they know that they're going to lose on 80% of them. But what they do know is that if they pick one that is a winner and it's a unicorn, that initial 20 or 30 or 40 or 50K that they put there, it's going to well and truly make up for the other 20 little bets that they had on the side. So you got to play to win, I think.
You got to play to win. Is
the other way to say it.
How are you going to know that you're not going to hit it out of the park if you don't swing, right? You got to swing.
Exactly. You miss every one that you don't swing for. So
yeah,
man. I've always been interested in how to solve problems in a way that often it ends up being like a product. So there's a problem and the solution is a product, and then how do you communicate that to people in a way that they understand it and want to buy it and they're happy. Like, it's a really intriguing puzzle that I love to think about. And that's why I do love business. It's hard, but it's challenging, but it's exciting as well.
It's exciting, yeah. I felt pretty excited for you guys when I was watching those videos where you're going to China and you're setting up, production over there, and you're having to change one factory from another. That was like, oh crap. I'm like, oh, you're really doing it. I thought like, oh, this guy from Australia, he's out in China, he's setting up stuff. I know you had an event here in LA, and I was like kicking myself. So I was like, oh, I should have gone. I should have been out there. At that point, I've never been like as into skateboarding. The only reason why you're in my wheelhouse is because it's similar to what I do. I make electric cars, right, these days, and you're essentially doing the smaller electric cars. That's what they are. Yeah. So same technology, same motor, same battery technology, same thing. So that's why I was interested in what you were doing. Like very early on, I was like, I was a big fan of Casey Neistat, and he was sporting out his dumps, boosted skateboard around, and I thought like, hey, my God, that's just like my DIY car that I just built. I'm like, I wonder if I could do that. And sure enough, I wanted to become a YouTuber, and I want to make content. And teaching people how to make smaller projects, it's a lot easier than, hey, spend $100,000 in this car that you might finish or might not finish someday, kind of thing. And so that's why I was really interested in that.
But that is the good thing about this scale, because kids like in university or high school kids, it's an engineering project that they can do with their dad or mum or whatever, friends on holiday or at school even, and you can learn. It's a scalable technology. Like if you love Tesla, it's sort of the same thing, but in a small, affordable size. Like it's the same concept. So yeah, it's
and
cool.
I would say it's
fun.
more fun because there's no more fun than you tinkering with something and, connecting this thing and building it and putting the motors and stuff and then hopping off on it and then just riding around town with it. I mean, these things are super fun, right? I was like, I totally understand. I was like not into skateboarding at all. And then as soon as I built one and I got on it, I'm like, oh my God, these things are pretty amazing. Just to skate around town.
I think from an engineering point of view, like the simplicity of a skateboard, like mechanically speaking, it's probably the most simple, lightweight, human-grade vehicle that you can get. Like if you think about, it's just a plank of wood with, on each end you've got little wheels with little bearings and another piece of metal that just sits on a bushing and you steer it by leaning. I mean, there's nothing else that's quite as simple as that in terms of the mechanical engineering. I mean, the next closest thing you would say is maybe a scooter, but there's a steering mechanism, there's a brake pedal, there's extra components. So I believe the most simplest human movement technology is a skateboard, and you can do tricks on them, and you can carry it, and you look cool. Right?
Yeah, you do look cool. I don't know if you can pull up the cool look on a scooter. I know some people are doing it, and they're doing tricks and stuff, but I don't know.
For me, skateboarding was always like,
yes.
I've been skateboarding since I was 6. So for me, it was like, just, but it was always like the rebels that did it, the people, like the people that didn't really quite fit into the other sports or they didn't follow the rules. Like they were also always like the bad kids, I sort of felt. Because skateboarding has never been legal. Like, as a kid, you couldn't skateboard in all the best places that you wanted to skateboard, like at the school where there's steps and things to ollie over, and where you want to go and practice your sport. Like it's a sport these days, Olympic sport. Well, it should have been. I think the Olympics got cancelled due to coronavirus. So. But yeah, it was meant to be in the Olympics this year. But yeah, skateboarding was always like for the misfits a little bit. So I think it's always going to have that.
That's why it's cool.
Well, that's why it's cool, yeah. But yeah, it's always like, I think hopefully one day people will see it more like a main form of transport. But I don't think we're there yet. The scooters are, you put
kinda
anyone, if it's an 80-year-old grandma, and put a scooter in front of her or a skateboard, like, and bet what she's more likely to be able to control and use. It's not
going to be
skateboard.
the scooter. Yeah, it's going to be the scooter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
and then it doesn't help that all these companies they dump literally billions of dollars into populating the world with scooters.